For reviews, interviews, and your daily film picks, click the bell icon and subscribe to Film Companion South now.
Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. Today we shall be looking at a film called Nenjukku Neethi or Justice by the Heart. Aptly titled, this film explores the difference between what is justice by the rule book, the mind, and what is justice that is driven by the heart, by one's emotions. Nenjukku Neethi is also the title of the famous autobiographical essay written by Kalaignar Karunanidhi, the grandfather of the primary actor in this film, namely Udayanidhi Stalin. After acting about a dozen films over the past 10 years, he has chosen to quit films with this and the next film and choosing instead to enter the high-octane field of the democratic practices in the DMK party. In a way, this film is a kind of statement of purpose submitted by this 44-year-old actor to express his commitment and deep desire to abide by justice and the rule of law from his heart from here onwards in real life. And honestly, he looks much younger, promising all of us some good times for Tamil Nadu in the future. But choosing to remake the highly acclaimed Hindi film Article 15 as a sign-off into such a leap forward is indeed throwing oneself a big challenge. For one, there is none of the heroic fights and song-singing sequences that are usually associated with heroic potential. Next, the original film by Anubhav Sinha is a deep, grim saga of the caste-entrenched villages of the North Indian belt, which lends a lot more authenticity in that northern milieu than in Tamil Nadu. And finally, the Hindi film is well structured within the old film noir genre, brilliantly shot by Ivan Maligan, and consequently having most of his scenes shot by sunset, nights, and dark indoors. Nenjukku Neethi, as you all know, is about Article 15 enshrined in the Indian Constitution, which condemns any form of discrimination based on caste, race, gender, religion, and place of birth. And yet, as we all know, that this has been pure wishful thinking for most Indians, because we observe these discriminatory differences normally as if it is part of one's nature. So, Vijay Raghavan, played by Udayanidhi, comes from a sophisticated urban background and even educated abroad, far removed from some of these grim realities in the South Indian hinterland. He takes over as Inspector of Police of a small district dominated by caste differences, only to land up into instances of rape, honor killings, crooked local politicians, and a corrupt police force with him. Every moment here is thus a learning arc for him, and he keeps discussing this constantly over phone with his wife, played by Thanya Ravichandran, an intellectual in the city who keeps slamming him for being part of an incompetent police system. So, the story is about how this young IPS officer manages to address justice by his emotional feelings rather than go strictly by the rule of law. In short, a great story of an outsider who comes into an unknown environment and then takes us, the urban viewers, along a journey of discovery. Symbolically, he carries the book Discovery of India by Pandit Nehru as a small noticeable gesture in the film. But however much I try to erase Anubhav Sinha's Article 15 from my mind and see this film afresh, I am unable to do that. And that is simply because Sinha's film chose the most appropriate formal approach to do this kind of a subject. Article 15 attempts to be as grounded and minimal as possible so that it can allow us, the naive urban observer, to see and learn about the complex caste relations observed by the people in these areas as totally normal, as a given. On the other hand, Nenjukku Neethi slides into melodrama ever too often, portraying things in sharp black and white, and then becoming highly dependent on dialogues to convey meanings and messages. The film empathizes with characters sometimes who have hardly been shown in the film. So, like many other melodramatic Tamil films, this film has dubbing of voices which is disproportionately loud. And the biggest killer of them all is the background music score by Dibu Thomas. It is excessively loud, almost making us feel that the cinematographer and the director have not done their job enough to communicate their feelings. Why do you want to amplify this so much? And then there is a long montage sequence to the accompaniment of a Terukuthu dance which throws the entire rhythm off balance. Such a subject is primarily meant for the urban audiences, and the film should allow them to immerse into what is that kind of territory which is infested with pigs, where communities are segregated wantonly, where schools observe such caste practices at primary levels, in casual ways. You see, honor killings and police atrocities are more newspaper headlines for the urban population like us. How does it actually transpire in these spaces? So, in a way, compared to the North Indian rural belt of Bihar and UP, the Tamil people have waged this struggle against caste and religion directly since the 1920s of the colonial period, under the mentorship of brilliant personalities like Periyar, Annadurai, and the Dravidian movement at large. The situation here comparatively more inclusive, more homogeneous, and therefore it is not as sharp and obvious as we see it in that Hindi film. It therefore becomes the responsibility of the writer-director Kamaraj and cinematographer Dinesh Krishnan to nuance it further and enhance the story already there in the original. The person who holds the connect for us in this film is undoubtedly Udaynidhi Stalin. His restrained performance sends the signal to everybody on the set to come on an underplayed wavelength. You see, he knows how to be gentle, stern, and angry with just minimal shifts in his performance. It is indeed sad that he has chosen to bid goodbye to a promising career with this film. Well, that is his calling, and let us wish him all the best in the future. Thank you.